guys, Trader Judd here with you back for week number 15 of the weekly charting series or the weekly outlook series where I go over 10 different Forex pairs, 3 time frames per pair, the weekly, the daily, and the 4-hour time frame. Now before we get started, I just want to say thank you to all the people that have supported me thus far. Week 15 is a big milestone. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Show support to the channel. And if you do like these videos and you think that you know somebody that would like these videos, I do encourage you to please share this content, right? Let's keep growing this channel. I'll keep bringing out good content week after week. And I do apologize for not having a new camera yet. I'm still in the works on that. Just trying to decide which one I want to go with, because before I was using a webcam to record, and now I'm going to buy a real camera and use that to my advantage. So I'm just trying to decide which camera to go with. If you do have a recommendation, go ahead and drop it in the comment section down below, or shoot me a message on Telegram. At Trader Judd is my username on Telegram, so go ahead and shoot me a message on there. And like always, if you do have any questions about Forex or anything like that, or have recommendations for upcoming content, go ahead and shoot me a message on Telegram or leave a comment in the comment section down below. And after you finish watching this video, go ahead and hit a thumbs up if you did like the content. However, if you don't like the content, go ahead and hit a thumbs down and explain to me what you want to see different in the upcoming videos. I will do my best to incorporate anything and everything that you guys want to see going forward. But that being said, let's go ahead and start with EUR/USD on the weekly time frame. We can see last week's candlestick was this bearish, strong bearish candlestick, bearish engulfing candlestick. We've seen a lot of bearish movement now. This is the 4th week in a row that we've seen this bearish movement. You can see we've got a number of trend lines on the weekly time frame. The top weekly trend line and the bottom weekly trend line, and then these 2 smaller trend lines in between those 2 larger trend lines. Dropping down to the daily time frame, we can see where those the two inner trend lines, if you will, are drawn off of, as well as I've added a zone that's based off of this bearish candlestick right here. Looking at last week's candlesticks, we have Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. Monday was a pin bar to the downside. You can see it rejected the EMAs right there. Tuesday, bearish engulfing candle. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, all 3 bearish. So every candlestick last week was bearish. Now, that being said, I would not be surprised if we see some bullish momentum, maybe retesting that trend line that's drawn to start the week out. I do believe, though, that we will continue to see bearish movement until we get down to this trend line or this zone down here. However, this is trending upward on the daily time frame, so that is something to be aware of. And so I'm not sure. I'll look this up on the 4-hour time frame, but I'll check out to see where this retracement is as far as Fibonacci goes. So here we are looking at the 4-hour time frame. Let's go ahead and see where the retracement is really quickly. Start at the bottom. I guess we gotta move this down and go all the way up to the top. All the way up to the top. And we can see the retracement right now is currently sitting at the 78.6. It has double bottom on the 78.6, so that's a good reason to believe that it might also go bullish to start the week out. Not confirmed yet, so I would not be buying this as of yet, but there is potential for buys. You can see I've added a few levels as well as another trend line. This is a descending trend line, as well as the 2 trend lines that were on the daily and the weekly as well. So these 2 horizontal lines based off of these touches to the left, and then this bottom horizontal line based off of these rejections down here, and then this zone is actually the same size as the daily. I decided not to change it to the 4-hour specifications. I left it at the daily size because it's really not that large. Normally, when you draw a zone on the daily time frame, it's quite large on the 4-hour time frame, so I usually end up changing the size of it to be 4 hours specific based off of a 4-hour candlestick instead of a daily candlestick. However, this one, the size of it I'm comfortable with for the 4-hour time frame, so I left it the daily size since I drew it on the daily. So what we're looking for with EU this week is either continuing downward, which we can see the options right here, coming down, testing the weekly the weekly trend line and or this zone, or if we do see a rejection of the 78.6 and then a continuation upward, what I'd be waiting for on that, since we do have a retest of this trend line drawn on the 4-hour time frame. However, we do not have a retest on the daily time frame as of yet. And so what we're looking for is some bullish momentum. We might see a rejection of one of these levels down here before going bullish and retesting this trend line. That will be a break of this descending trend line right here, a retest of this ascending trend line right here. If we do get a break above this trend line, the ascending one, the one on the daily and the weekly time frame, then we'll be looking for a retest of that and then continuation upward. And if we do get that continuation upward, I would consider this to be a continuation trade of this setup right here. So you're looking at possible ABCD pattern. So this being the A, this being the D, or excuse me, the B, this being the C level right here, the 78.6 rejection, and then the D level being up here somewhere. So that's a possibility. That's not been confirmed yet. I'm just laying out some possible scenarios. So I'm not buying this as of yet. I'm waiting for more confirmation, and honestly, I won't be swing trading this until the daily confirms the possibility of the ABCD pattern, which is a clear-cut rejection on the daily time frame of the 78.6 level. But that's what I see for USD this week. Let's go ahead and move on to UJ. Looking at USD JPY, last week's candlestick, well, excuse me, this is the daily. Let's go ahead and pull up the weekly here really quick, because this should be the weekly and not the daily. There we go. Looking at the weekly candlestick, last week's candlestick was bullish engulfing candle. We saw a few possible rejections the past couple of weeks, but it was just price slowing down is what it looks like. So we did have that bullish engulfing candle, that strong bullish candle last week. So that's a good sign that we are going to continue upward to this trend line that's drawn, if not break that trend line drawn. Dropping down to the daily time frame, man, you would have thought that I was not prepared for this. Alright, looking at USD JPY on the daily time frame, you can see I have a Fibonacci retracement drawn. There is a rejection of the 70.7 level, that pin bar to the upside. However, that was Friday's candlestick, and so and we did get a significant bullish movement the rest of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday candlesticks were all bullish. You can see constant rejections of the 8 EMA, pushing upward, pushing upward, pushing upward. And so I do not think that it's out of the question to see a possible retest of this trend line, which could line up with the 78.6, possible touch of this trend line and a rejection of the 78.6, something along those lines is what I could see happening, and then a continuation down. As long as if we get a break of this weekly trend line drawn, we'll be looking for a break and a retest and a continuation upward, and probably a break of structure to the left. So that's an option. Looking at USD JPY on the 4-hour time frame, this is kind of what I have drawn right now. You'll notice that the horizontal line in red, that is at the 110 level, that is a quarter point, which is why it's labeled in red. You can see the double top right here. Off of the 110, a lot of people, myself included, figured that we would see some more bearish movement based off of the double top of the 110, but last week we did get some bullish movement. Price never really sustained itself below the EMAs, so we never really got any sort of, besides that double top, we never got any other confirmations. There was no break of structure, there was nothing, and so I shorted that a quick scalp to start, or well, to end not last week but the week before that, and then I kind of left UJ alone until these candlesticks right here, until this bullish movement was confirmed. We had this bullish engulfing, and the slight retest the slight retracement, excuse me, to retest the EMAs, and then it shot upward. And so, but if you will notice that to close the week out, we did get this bearish engulfing candle. Not the very last candlestick of last week, but the second to last candlestick of last week was this bearish engulfing candle. So I would not be surprised to see some bearish momentum, maybe retesting this horizontal line, which is based off of these rejections over here, as well as the rejection right here. So we should see some sort of retracement, possibly retesting that before continuing upward. If it does break that,
then the next line of defense as far as bullish movement is concerned is this trend line. If this trend line is broken, then I would expect either a retest of the trend line or a retest of this level, and a retest of the 110. If we get a break below, so before selling this, confidently selling this, swing trading this long-term sell, what I'd be looking for is not only a break of this horizontal line, a break of this trend line, and a break and retest of the 110 before confidently selling. And even then, we do not have a confirmed break of structure right there. And so really that would be an aggressive entry if you were to get into a sell at this 110 level, the retest of this 110 level, because there is still no confirmed break of structure. So be careful if you plan on selling UJ this week. It is still trending upward on the 4-hour time frame, and I see no reason to get into sells right now. This bearish engulfing candle is not a good reason to get into a sell if you're longer term trading. So just be aware of that. But that's what I see for UJ this week. Let's go ahead and move on to gold.
Yeah, last week's candlestick on gold, we have a bearish engulfing candle that came back down and retested this trend line drawn. You notice that I have a horizontal line drawn up above where price is currently as well. It's still red because, of course, the last horizontal line that I drew was that quarter point on the UJ chart. So I do apologize for that being red. Normally they are blue, so there is no significant reason why it's red. I just forgot to switch the color back to blue. But you will see that this candlestick did come back down and retest this trend line. So that's a good indication that, one, we're either going to get a significant break of that trend line this coming week, or we're going to get a significant rejection of that trend line this coming week. Looking at the daily time frame, we can see that Friday was slightly bullish, Thursday was a doji, Wednesday was a doji, Tuesday was this massive bearish engulfing candle, and Monday was slightly bearish. It did come down and test that trend line. That's what we saw on the weekly time frame. I also added this horizontal line right here that signifies the bottom of this consolidation area. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, I finally switched my colors back to blue, so I do apologize for those horizontal lines being red. But let's see here. So this horizontal line, this bottom one, is representing the two touches over here on all of the rejections that come along with those two touches. This horizontal line, the next one up, is representative of all of these rejections of the consolidation zone, like I said. This zone is drawn off of this bearish candlestick right here. And so what we're looking for is, if price does go bullish this week, which we can see Friday's last candlestick was a doji. The candlestick before that was a bullish engulfing candle, though it did not make much significant gain off of all of the bearish movement on Tuesday. So I wouldn't look at that as a reversal candle, right? We see all of this bearish movement. I would be very, very cautious of buying this. However, we do have this weekly trend line down on the bottom. So what we're looking for, if it continues to go bearish, we're looking for a break and a retest of that strong weekly candlestick on the 4-hour time frame. If it does decide to go bullish, we're looking for some movement upward, breaking this first horizontal line, then coming up to the second one, which would probably line up pretty well with the 4-hour trend line that I have drawn here. If that 4-hour trend line is broken as well, we'd be looking for a break and a retest of that trend line, as well as this horizontal level, and then continuing up possibly to where this zone is drawn. So that's what I see for gold this week. Be very, very cautious of buying gold this week because of all of that significant bearish movement on Tuesday. I would not be surprised to see more bearish movement coming out of the gate. So wait for a definite confirmation. I would not be buying this until at least Monday and probably Tuesday. I'd be waiting for some sort of reversal pattern on the daily time frame. So that's what I see for gold. If you have any questions on gold, feel free to shoot me a message on Telegram or leave a comment down below. AUD on the weekly time frame. Last week's candlestick was a significant bearish engulfing candle. We could see that there was possibility for a bearish, more bearish movement from the last couple of weeks. And we did see that this bearish candle did break through both of the EMAs and also is currently resting slightly below this weekly trend line. We'll be able to see that better in lower time frames. Looking at the daily, you can see price did break that trend line.
However, it is not significantly broken it yet, so we could see a retracement to start the week out. That's a possibility. You can see I have price pretty well captured right now. This horizontal line right here is based off of all of these rejections right here and right here, and then this horizontal line right here based off of the rejection, 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 rejection. So those two strong horizontal lines are kind of the targets where price is probably headed if it does continue to go bearish. If it does go bullish, then we'd be looking to readjust this trend line right here to meet this bullish, or to meet this lowest point, the most current lowest point. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, I've added a zone that's based off of this massive bearish candlestick right here. And you might be asking, why did you make it that large? And the reason for it is because it encompassed all of these levels right here. Instead of making each one of these levels its own horizontal line or its own horizontal ray, I decided to just make it a zone, and this bearish engulfing candle did meet the requirements to do that. We would also have rejections to the left of that as well. These 3 points right here, 3 or 4 points right here would also be rejecting that same zone. I do apologize that the horizontal lines somehow did not carry over, so let's go ahead and add those. So these would be the horizontal lines that were on the daily chart. So what we're looking for with price is we're looking for price to either come down and bounce off of the horizontal line and then retest this trend line. You can see that the trend line was retested on the 4-hour time frame. They have a solid break and retest and then bearish movement downward. So I do expect this to continue to go bearish. However, because price is so close to this bottom horizontal line right here, the bottom of this consolidation zone to the left, I'm not necessarily buying this or selling this yet. I might wait to see what the reaction to this horizontal line is before I'm buying or selling. But if we do see buys, we'd be looking for a retest of this trend line, and if that is broken, then we'd be looking for a retest of this horizontal line up top. However, if this horizontal line is broken, we'd be looking for a retest of that horizontal line. I would comfortably sell it into this zone. So that's what I see for EA this week. Let's go ahead and move on. PNZD on the weekly time frame, we had a massive rejection to the upside last week. We could see multiple wicks to the upside in this same little zone or area, if you will, on the weekly time frame. So I would not be surprised to see bearish momentum this week. However, bullish momentum is not out of the question either. You can see the EMAs are spread and prices above the EMAs. So prices, based on the EMAs, price is trending upwards still. However, we have seen some pretty much stagnant movement. No real definite trend in the past few months on the higher time frames. So dropping down to the 5-hour, the daily, I don't know how I messed that up. The daily time frame, we can see last week's candlesticks. Friday was this bearish engulfing candle. Tuesday was bullish. Wednesday was bearish engulfing, and then Monday and Tuesday were both bullish. Monday's being a bullish engulfing candle. And you can see I've added this one horizontal line. It's based off of these two levels right here. Price is currently resting right on that horizontal line. We can see why I have it drawn. The rejections right here, the rejections right here, the two rejections right here, and then price has been dancing above and below that line now for a number of weeks. I have two trend lines drawn, which this trend line is not exact, and it will be fixed on the 4-hour time frame, so I do apologize about that. But the two trend lines are relevant. Let's go ahead and drop down to the 4-hour time frame. Let's go ahead and fix this. Make sure that it is drawn correctly. There we go. So, we can see on Friday all of this bearish momentum, right? Friday closed out with strong bearish candlesticks. Every single candlestick on Friday was bearish except for this one. And the EMAs did cross. It did break through that zone that's drawn. This zone is based off of this bullish candlestick right here. You can see the multiple rejections of that zone. Two horizontal lines, the top horizontal line being based off of this touch right here, this touch right here, and then this small head and shoulders right here that rejected that horizontal line as well. And then this horizontal line down here is the same one that was on the daily time frame. So what we're looking for with price right now is either a strong rejection of this bottom horizontal line where price currently is, which would mean that price would need to open up bullish and continue bullish at least up into this zone. If not breaking this zone, then you can see the arrows depict kind of where price could possibly go. If it does break below this zone, this horizontal line, then we'd be looking for a break and a retest of that, and then a continuation down to this weekly trend line down here. Notice that if we do get to this weekly trend line down here, it still will not be a confirmed break of structure, so we would need a break and a retest, and then a continuation down to get a break of structure from this low point right here. However, we did get a lower high from this point to this point, so that is a good sign for possible bullish momentum long term, but it's not confirmed yet. So be cautious buying GN this week. Wait for confirmation on that. Adversely, wait for confirmation on the sell as well. We do have more bearish momentum, significant bearish momentum. We could see some sort of retracement before it continues bearish, however. So either way, you're waiting for confirmation. Right now is not a good time to enter GN because of all that exhaustive bearish movement on Friday. So go ahead and wait until Monday or Tuesday before deciding to do deciding to do anything on GN. Looking at AUD USD on the weekly time frame, last week's candlestick did end slightly bearish. However, there was a pretty substantial wick to the downside, and we can see the pin bar to the downside from the week before that. And I have two trend lines drawn. This bottom trend line based off of last week's candlestick, or well, I guess it would be the week before last candlestick. And also this trend line going this descending trend line, and then this double top with the rejections over here is what this horizontal line is based off of. Looking at the daily time frame, this zone is based off of this bearish candlestick right here, and you can see the rejection right here, the retest right here, and then the rejection right here. Price consolidated in that zone, and then attempted to break out before just dying. Last week's candlestick, really not a bunch of significant movement for last week. We had Monday bearish, Tuesday bearish, but it never broke this, what I would call the controlling candle, this bullish engulfing candle right here. Wednesday was bullish but not engulfing. Thursday and Friday were both slightly bearish, but really didn't have any significant movement. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see a lot of insignificant movement towards the latter part of last week that we saw in the Thursday and Friday candlesticks. I did add this trend line and these two horizontal lines. These two horizontal lines are representing kind of this consolidation area. And we can see an possible inverse head and shoulders right here. So what we'd be looking for with that, let's go ahead and draw this inverse head and shoulders so I can better show you. This would be the left shoulder. This would be the neckline, the head right here, the other part of the neckline, the right shoulder. And then what we're looking for is a break of the neckline before confirmed. If that break of neckline does happen, then I would be looking for a retest of this trend line drawn. So essentially what we're looking for with AU is if we do get a break of this this small trend line right here, break and retest of that will continue up to the top of this consolidation area and or this neckline, if you will. And if we do get a break and a retest, I would be comfortable buying this up until the neckline and then waiting to see how price reacts to the neckline of the inverse head and shoulders. However, if we do get bullish momentum right off of the bat, or bearish momentum right off the bat, excuse me, then we'd be looking for a break and a retest of this lower horizontal line and then a continuation down to this trend line down here, which would result in this right shoulder being invalid and therefore this inverse head and shoulders being invalid. So something to watch out for with AU this week is that inverse head and shoulders to kind of see if that becomes valid or not. So definitely keep an eye out on AU this week. USD is up next. We can see last week's candlestick was bearish. It did attempt to go bullish but failed. We can also see that the EMAs did just cross last week, and so that's something to keep an eye out on. EMAs crossing on the weekly time frame is pretty significant. You'll notice that once the EMAs cross, Let's talk about this. You don't see a whole bunch of EMA crossings on larger time frames, right? We can see where EMAs get close together, but they don't actually cross. And so you can see this even right here where the EMAs crossed, the price came back down, but never sustained this below break EMA, and then danced along the EMAs, and the EMAs finally crossed back over here, and price never really broke back up above those EMAs. And this is Brexit right here. EMAs were still not crossed, and then they finally crossed. We get this break of structure, and they finally cross after the break of structure, and they've been separated this whole movement up for since probably April of 2017, so over a year. EMAs have been separated for over a year, so we have not had a cross like this since over a year ago. So that's something to definitely watch for. We could see some sort of bearish movement come and retest these EMAs on the weekly time frame, but that's significant. I want you all to realize that. Go do some back testing using two separate EMAs. I use the 8 and the 20. If you're not sure about EMAs, I will link my EMA indicator videos so that you can learn more about EMAs and how they're calculated and why they're significant, why you should use them in trading. I don't rely fully on indicators for any sort of trading, but they do. Stuff like this is a good indicator of what to expect going forward. So I would not be surprised if we see GU continue to go bearish long term and possibly retesting these Brexit lows. So that's something to keep an eye out on. Dropping down to the daily time frame, we can see last week's candlesticks, not a whole bunch of significant movement. The EMAs on the daily time frame are very spread. So Friday's candlestick bearish engulfing. Thursday's candlestick was a pin bar rejection to the upside. Wednesday and Tuesday were both bearish. Monday was a rejection of the EMAs as well. I did add that one small trend line, but not really anything too significant. And then dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, I've added a couple horizontal lines. This one being the rejections, all the rejections right here, as well as this rejection on this side, and you can see the rejections over here for this bottom one. So what we're looking for with GU this week is you can see this 4-hour trend line drawn right here. Starts at the top and then just goes to the most recent high. So price is currently respecting that. The EMAs are spread down below. We did end bearish last week, and so if we do go bullish, you can see I have this kind of channel drawn right here. So that's something to watch out for as well. If we go bearish, we'd be looking for a break of this trend line as well as a break of this top of this channel, then coming up and probably retesting this horizontal line right here, which is the top of this consolidation area. And then if it does continue its bullish ways, we'd be looking for a break and retest of this bottom part of the channel, and then continuing down to this horizontal line down here. Like I said, there is a slight possibility that we could see, well, it's not necessarily slight. It's just something I would definitely, with the GBP pairs, I would keep a pretty close eye on the weekly time frames for the next couple of months to see what the EMAs do. If the EMAs do stay consolidated, then you're not looking for any really long-term swing trades. We're talking about months of that type of swing trading. We wouldn't be looking for entries like that just yet. There is a possibility, though, that once we see some sort of retracement and retest of these two EMAs, that we could see a significant movement downward. So that's something to keep an eye out on with GU. But that's what I see for this week. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. DJ is up next. Last week's candlestick was bullish, but however did reject the two EMAs, and the EMAs are spread to the downside. However, you can see the movement up and down with the EMAs on GJ. So this horizontal line right here, you'll see it better in the lower time frames, but it's rejections across the board. Dropping down to the daily time frame, we can see Friday closed bearish, but not bearish engulfing. Thursday was bullish engulfing. Wednesday was a pin bar to the downside, and then Monday and Tuesday were both bullish. We've got a nice wedge drawn on GJ daily time frame. You'll see it on the 4-hour time frame as well. And so we're really waiting for price to commit to breaking out of either one of these sides. There is no real significant market structure right now. Right, GJ looks pretty confused. We had this slightly higher low, a higher high. I don't really consider this to be market structure, but if you do consider it to be market structure, then you'd be looking at a higher low, a lower high, a retest, a higher high, a lower low, a lower high, and then a higher low. So GJ market structure on the daily time frame is confused. It doesn't know which direction it wants to commit to. So no long-term trades on GJ just yet. Let's go ahead and drop down to the 4-hour time frame. You can see there's significant levels on GJ all over the place. I'll go over these levels and why they're drawn. So we have the starting bottom and working my way up. We have the 2 rejections right here, a rejection right here, and then this large wick right here, as well as this rejection right here. Moving up to the next level, we have rejection right here, rejection right here, these 3 rejections right here, as well as these 2 right here. Next level up, rejection, 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 and also rejections over here. Next level up, which is we just passed price. Now we're up above where price is. The previous high on the 4-hour time frame is a rejection. We also have rejection, rejection, and then these 2 rejections right here, as well as a number of rejections over even farther left than that. And then the highest horizontal line, rejection right here, rejection right here, rejection right here, rejection right here. And then we have multiple rejections right here. We could also add one if you wanted to around these levels right here, but price is not more than likely isn't going to reach that high this week. I don't anticipate. And so to see what Friday closed out as, we had these massive bearish candlesticks, right, that broke through the 2 EMAs. EMAs have not crossed yet, so it's not confirmed ascending or descending yet, but we did have significant bearish movement. So what we're looking for is rejections or breaks and retests of all of these levels as it continues down and or continues up. And if once it reaches either this bottom trend line or this top trend line, we're looking for either a strong rejection or a break and retest of either one of those trend lines. That's when I would be comfortable making more longer term trades. So that's what I see for GJ this week. Much like GU, it's something to look out for. You can't see it nearly as clearly on GJ for the potential to be long-term bearish, but there is still potential there. GJ is a little bit more confused as to which direction it wants to commit to. GU being more, I see more confirmation for long-term bearishness. If you have any questions on GU and GJ, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Shoot me a message on Telegram, and I'll go more into detail on what I see for the possible long-term future of those 2 pairs. EUR JPY on the weekly time frame. Last week's candlestick was this doji / spinning top looking candlestick. It did reject the EMAs up above. However, it also rejected the trend line drawn the week before that as well. So it's kind of stuck right now. Price is pretty well stuck. It's indecisive in which direction it wants to go. However, we should be seeing some sort of significant movement in break of one of these 2 trend lines in the coming weeks. Dropping down to the daily time frame, you can see more significantly now where price is and how close it is to breaking out of one side of these 2 trend lines. I added the horizontal line because of the rejections right here, as well as the rejection right here, as well as the double top rejection right here. Price is currently below that, and looking at last week's candlesticks, Monday was a pin bar to the downside. However, it did close slightly bullish. Tuesday was bearish. Wednesday was a pin bar to the downside. However, it did close slightly bearish. Thursday was bullish, and then Friday was a pin bar to the upside. Did close bearish. However, it does not look like it's engulfing. So a little bit of indecisiveness from last week from EJ. It really didn't commit to going either direction. Like I said, it is close to breaking out of either side of the 2 trend lines. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see now more of this significant movement that happened that caused all of both the wick to the upside and the wick to the downside. And you can see the EMAs have crossed back over, cross. So that shows that there really is no significant movement to the upside or the downside. Price is just moving side to side instead of positively or negatively up or down. So these two arrows kind of represent, or well, the multiple arrows kind of represent where price has a possibility to go. We could see it pinball back and forth between the top and the bottom of this wedge before breaking out of one side. But I do have the breakouts of either side drawn and what I believe will happen at either direction. So if we do get a breakout of the bottom side, we should see a break and a retest. There is a zone drawn down here. It's based off of this entire bearish candlestick right here, which we'll see multiple rejections of. This rejection right here as well as this rejection right here. So I can't really commit to either way right now. I don't have a bullish or a bearish tendency on this or prediction on this, because we are seeing lower lows. Lower highs. However, we are seeing higher lows right now as well. So market structure is not really telling us a confirmed direction either. So my recommendation for EJ is just wait until we get some sort of break from either one of these trend lines. Moving on to our final pair, which is going to be UCAD. Last week's candlestick on UCAD did end up bullish engulfing. You can see I have 3 trend lines drawn on the weekly time frame. The top one, the very bottom one, and then one inside of that. So a pretty significant rejection to the 2 EMAs on the weekly time frame, as well as a candlestick, I'm going to say candlestick reversal pattern because it was engulfing. However, that is a significant wick to the upside from not last week's candlestick, but the week before that. Looking at the daily time frame, you can see the trend lines drawn much more clear on the daily time frame. So looking at last week's candlesticks, Monday was bullish, Tuesday was bullish, Wednesday was bearish engulfing, Thursday was bullish with a wick to the downside, and Friday was bullish engulfing that bearish engulfing candlestick from Wednesday. And the EMAs on the daily time frame, are still up. 8 is above the 20. And so what we're looking for with this is some sort of breakout of either this top trend line or this bottom trend line. If not that, then a rejection of either one of those trend lines. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, same consolidation zone that I've had drawn on UCAD for quite some time now. We can see we had significant bullish movement towards the end of the week and significant bearish movement in the middle of the week. So we're on the 4-hour time frame. What we're waiting for is price to break above this consolidation barrier, this horizontal line, where you can see all of these significant rejections, and we saw that to close the week out. And in the middle of the week, we saw that as well. So that's a pretty significant level. I wouldn't be buying this until that level is broken and retested, and then you can comfortably buy it to the weekly trend line that's drawn. Adversely, if we do get a strong rejection, which because this bullish engulfing candle is so strong, I'd be a little hesitant on selling this down to this level, but you can see the significant rejections to this bottom level as well. There is, if you would like to add one more horizontal line, I didn't want to add too many, but there is a level right here as well, or right around this level. You can see all those significant rejections over here, this rejection right here, rejections right here, and then all of this bottom of this consolidation box right here. So that is significant as well. So you might get some sort of retracement like this before continuing upward. Let's go ahead and draw that. So you could get something like this or something like this. That's kind of what I'm looking for with UCAD. One of these 3 scenarios right here. It's a little bit hard to tell which direction it's really going to go because of all of these significant candlesticks with UCAD the past few days, or the past few weeks, I should say. Market structure is really not telling us anything right now either. We had this higher high right here after the consolidation zone and broke out to the upside, then rejected that and made a lower low based off of, I guess it broke down to the bottom of this or through the bottom of this consolidation zone, and now price has just been bouncing back and forth between these 2 levels right here. So I don't have either a confirmed direction on UCAD right now either. It's something to look into in the coming days. you might be able to get some sort of entry on UCAD tomorrow or the day after. So definitely something to keep an eye out on, but no entry as of yet. So that's it for this week, guys. Again, thank you so much for all the continued support of the Trader Judd YouTube channel. If you did like this video, again, please like and subscribe to the channel. Like this video. If you dislike this video, hit the thumbs down. Tell me why you disliked it. I'll do my very best to make improvements that everybody wants to see. Again, I am planning on getting a camera here as quickly as possible to bring that back and to improve the viewing pleasure of these videos. I know that they are kind of long and more of an informative sort of style of videography, but that doesn't mean it needs to necessarily be boring to watch. So I am trying to become more innovative in ways to make this more visually pleasing. So bear with me on that. If you do have any ideas to enhance this channel, to make anything better, if you have any content that you want to see come out, please send me a message on Telegram, send me a message here, email me, drop a comment on this video, any of that stuff, and I will do my best to reply to everyone and incorporate everybody's ideas to continue bringing content, quality content. Also, I am going to be making another Indicator 101 video this coming week, so be on the lookout for that. I'm not going to tell you what indicator it's going to be on just yet, but it is going to be out this week. So, like I said, keep an eye out on that. Again, thank you guys so much for your support. I am out. Enjoy your week.